All right, Christiana. Everybody, please, I'm so sorry for that interruption. Please, it's the network that actually locked the host out. So we are sorry for that. Christiana, please, you can continue.
All right, okay. So let me just quickly do a short recap of what I started with. So I mentioned that we are going to speak on investigating the business situation. And yeah, yes. So in investigating the business situation, you're trying to identify what the problems are, because as a business analyst, you don't just jump into business or jump into conclusion based on what the stakeholders said or what they requested. Yes, it's important that you listen to them, you listen to their concerns, but then it is also better and imperative for you to also really find out where the real problem lies. Because as a business analyst, you are a change enabler and you are there to identify the needs. And then you're using these needs to now discover what kinds of solutions you want to recommend to them that will deliver the value that they really require. So they might not be able to articulate their needs appropriately, or they might not even know what the exact problem is. And that's why you are there as a business analyst. Otherwise, if they knew what the problem exactly was, they might just be able to just find a solution by themselves. But you are there for you to actually um do some research and get what the actual problems are. And so why do you also need to do this? You want to understand what the real problems are before jumping to solutions. You want to identify what the root causes are so that you're not just treating surface level symptoms. What might look like the problem might not exactly be the problem. You might think the solution is the problem, but it might be different reasons that are not making the solution perform optimally. It might be the environment. It might not be hosted on the right cloud platform or the right cloud environment for it to work as it should. It could be probably the staff that are not properly trained on how to use the solution effectively or optimally. It could be maybe you could just pay for a subscription and just upgrade maybe you could upgrade maybe your payments, and then it could probably deliver more value. It could have more components or more benefits. Instead of discarding the whole solution, we are talking solution this time around. So there could be different things that are making or that are not allowing, you enjoy the solution as you should. So before jumping into any implementation or into any solution, you need to investigate what the situation is to be able to understand where the problem is and what exactly we are going to um do better, what exactly we want to improve on. Is it just a process improvement that we need? Is it a process improvement we need, or a total overhaul of the whole solution? So a proper research, a proper analysis is what will now tell you the right things to do. It could also be that the challenges are even outside of the solution. It could be people problem, it could be, the environment, it could be the maybe the model of operation in the organization that is even, preventing you from enjoying that solution as well as you should. So you need to investigate the business solution situation properly. So it helps inform further work in process improvements, system design, and stakeholder engagement. So yeah, these are the reasons why you need to investigate the business solution. And so in investigating the business solution, there are some things that you should actually take care of. Like you need to do a proper and thorough background research. A thorough background research would enable you understand how their processes are carried out, who are the process owners, who does what, who is responsible for what, who is accountable for what, who should be consulted for what, who should be informed. You want to see their reports over a period of time, maybe their quarterly reports, their monthly reports, their annual reports. You want to see what their manuals are, their manuals of operation, what manuals guide different processes, or is it that anybody will just decide, oh, today this is how we want to run this operation? But it should be documented. It should have a documented and proper approved way of doing things, which should be followed to the letter. So before you now start speaking to anyone, you need to review all of these documents. You need to understand their charts, their organogram, who reports to who, uh, you know, who carries out the approvals for these processes, what systems, what solutions do they use. So you need to do a thorough background research. You need to know what processes are dependent on what processes as well. So is this process, this department, are they standalone? Are they complete in and by themselves? Are they dependent on another department before they can carry out their own processes? Or they are fine as they are? Is another department dependent on them? You need to see the interdependency of processes, interdependency of departments. So before you say, oh, this is the problem, it might be that where the delay, maybe you're experiencing a delay in processing of funds from the account department, but you don't know that it is an approval problem. It takes maybe donkey years before they get approval from the top. And then people in the other departments that are dependent on the accounts department just feel, oh, this accounting department, they're just slow. They're just slow. But you don't, so that's why you need to investigate
Anna,
and know.
your slides are not moving, please. Sorry for the interruption.
I've not moved it. I'm on background research. I've not moved it.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, so I'm still talking about reviewing of the organizational documents. So you want to see the manuals, the process documents, their charts, their reports, and all of these things before you even start speaking to anyone. You want to understand the structure, the goals, and the culture, like their organogram. You want to see probably their business model canvas, their goals, their vision, their strategy map, and the likes. So some of the tools that can help you for this is like their business capability model, their technology reference model, their strategic roadmaps. So what do we use the business capability model for? So it's a structured representation, a visual representation of all the capabilities that an organization needs to achieve their goals, independent of the structure and the different processes. So you need all of this. Their business model canvas too. What are the high level goals of the organization? What are the things they want to achieve? Their strategic roadmaps. At what point? How do they want to achieve their different goals? And in what time frame? Between January and February, is that when they want to carry out this and this process? So all of these things are things that you need to take care of before you even embark on any solution implementation or so with them. So it helps you become familiar with the environment and it helps you clarify different assumptions. So you have the clarity of what you want to do. Okay. So I don't know if you can see my screen. I'm on types of investigation techniques. Please confirm that that's what you can see on your screen. Types of investigation
No,
techniques.
what we are seeing is why investigate the business situation.
Okay. Okay. Is that the same for everyone? I don't know. If I
Yes,
can
it is.
Okay. Let me stop sharing and share. Okay. Let me see. Okay. Can we see types of investigation techniques now?
No, you are at investigating the business situation. That's slide 2.
Oh, wow. Okay. That has to be some network disturbance. Yeah. What about now?
Types of investigation techniques. Yes, thank you.
All right. Okay. So now we are carrying out the investigation, and then we have different techniques that guide what we do. So we have the qualitative and the quantitative. We have the qualitative and the quantitative. So for the qualitative investigation, there are different examples like the interviews, the workshops, the focus groups, workshops, interviews. All of these help gather different views. You use it uh, to get some information from different people. So you're using it to gather experience, gather different opinions from different sets of people. So these are the qualitative investigation techniques. For the quantitative, this shows it's something that you can quantify. So this way, um you are able to use some data, you're able to use something to collect some information, and then it is quantitative. You can quantify the information that you are getting from them. So we're talking about surveys, we're talking about KPIs, process metrics. In short, there are things that you are gauging your responses on, and then you can quantify the number of responses, you can quantify the responses you are getting. So you can send out survey forms, KPIs, key performance indicators, process metrics, and then uh this one's focus on facts and data. Facts and data, and both are very important, both the qualitative and the quantitative. The qualitative, that you are hearing from people's experiences, people are sharing their different personal opinions. It's also very important, but at the same time, so you need data-based investigation techniques as well, which are the quantitative ones. So which one are you supposed to? It depends on the project size, depends on the location, depends on the stakeholders that are being involved. Depends on the type of information that you're trying to gather. So that's what determines which one is the most effective one to use. Okay. So yeah, I believe that my laptop is hanging. All right. Workshops. Is my screen moving now? Can you see workshops?
Yeah, yes, it is moving.
All right. So, workshops. I'm sure many of us have been a part of a workshop at one point or the other at some time. So it's like a group discussion where you're exploring different views, trying to resolve conflicts, you're trying to gather different requirements. You're just seeking opinions from different people, and it's a group discussion. Different people are coming together, different levels of experience, and then you are trying to rub mind together. So it can be used at different multiple stages. You can use at different stages. You can use it to explore business processes. You can use it to review requirements quality. You can use it to gather the expectations or the requirements for probably a solution. You can use it to gather the challenges too that you are facing, maybe in a department or maybe across the organization. What are the challenges? What are the things we should improve on? What are the things that can help us become one of the top performing blah 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 in the maybe in the banking sector, maybe in the marketing sector. So workshops help you to explore different views, and then you see that it's by the time everybody comes together to share their different opinions, you would be able to achieve a better outcome. So what are the benefits? It's faster than one-on-one interviews. Imagine that you have to go to a maybe a medium scale business, and then there are over 50. I'm not even talking of a big industry this time around. Let's say just a medium, and they're about 30 to 50, and then you have to walk into each person's office. and you have to hear their different opinions. When you could just gather them in a boardroom and everybody just, expresses their opinion, everybody takes turns to say what they feel should be um considered. So it's way faster than one-on-one interviews. I mean, we are using one stone to kill plenty birds at the same time. And it encourages collaboration. It encourages collaboration. So it's also there's something to be careful or to watch out for. Some people would easily blend and not contribute. So there'll be some people that are maybe more extroverted than the others, and their voices will be more dominant. So you need to be careful. You need to, be able to find your way to make everyone involved, carry everyone along. Because some quieter voices, when they say that, oh, yeah, since this other ones are talking, there's no need for me to share my own opinion, even though they are very uh valid valid views that they could also share. So you should be careful. It's something that is bound to happen if you're not um observant enough. So you need to be careful that some people do not overshadow the quieter participants based on people's different natures. All right, but it is by all means way effective or more effective than any one-on-one interview. All right, now, so we have focus groups also. Focus groups, these are small groups with common interests. Small groups with common interests. We use it to gather different opinions. It helps us discover diverse insights and different views. And then there are online versions that use AI for summary and analysis. So observation is another qualitative technique that we use in investigating the business situation. All right, in observation, the analyst, you as the BA now, you watch staff do their job. Okay, you said this solution is not performing optimally, or this process takes forever to complete. Okay, I'm here to just observe. I'm here to shadow you. I'm here to just see how you just do your thing. Do your thing. So the analyst is there to just watch the staff do their job. How do they carry out their job practically? So it reveals hidden issues like unspoken rules and tacit knowledge. And there are different types of this observation. There are different types. You have the formal observation, protocol analysis, shadowing, ethnographic studies. It is important to ensure that staff feel safe and not judged. So it's not the time where you now start saying, is that how you're supposed to do it? Oh God, you're even the problem. So don't make them feel judged. Don't make them feel fidgety. Don't make them feel tense as though you're an auditor. I mean, that's one of the challenges that a BA faces. It feels like you are there to audit them, you are there to judge them, you are there to report them, so make them feel safe, make them feel relaxed, make it light-hearted, and so let them do their thing freely as they would on a normal day. So you can now get your own inference from all of these activities while just watching them. All right. All right. Okay. So interviews or meetings. So these ones can be one-on-one. It could be a small group. It's useful for sensitive or complex information, allows for clarification and deeper questioning, prepare questions, but stay flexible during discussion. So yeah. So what, do we do in interviews or meetings? So this one can be more, it could be a little more, not as big as the workshop, but definitely it could be just one-on-one. It could be a smaller group of people. Is sometimes if the information is sensitive, the information you want to share, the information get, you want to get maybe their financial expenditure for the past year or something a little more maybe more technical, more personal, more confidential or sensitive, you might not need to address the whole organization at once or the whole department at once. Maybe just meetings with the head of department or maybe the process owners, a smaller group this time around. So you can be able to get more clarification. You can do some deeper questioning in this place. So it is important that you have questions, you ask the right questions, and but still make it flexible throughout the whole discussion. All right. And then you could also have some scenarios where you're going to describe a life situation to explore what happened. You can start with a happy day, encourage creativity in workshops to discover real life complexity. So you just need to be able to know how to manage your audience, know your audience. So you need to, so as a business analyst, some of the skills we have: interpersonal relationship, you need to have communication skills and interaction skills. You need to be able to judge, you need to be able to understand people even within few seconds of being in the same room with them. You need to know when to make the conversation a little light, and at the same time, you need to know when to be firm. Otherwise, you will just go off course. It's very easy because some people can just introduce topics that are off point, and before you know it, you've derailed from the purpose of that workshop. You've derailed from the purpose of, so you need to be able to read and understand your audience, so that you keep them carried along. You don't bore them. You don't make them feel judged. You don't make them feel like, okay, are we just wasting our time or what? So you need to understand, read the room, and understand their body language and all of that to be able to get the best from them. Otherwise, they won't be responsive. They'll just be there. You won't get what you want, and you won't be able to achieve what you're trying to achieve, which is to investigate what the ideal situation is. So prototyping. Uh, so there are different tools that we can use for prototyping. There's Figma, there's Pencil, and you can even use basic tools like PowerPoint, for prototyping. And in prototyping, you're just trying to do a mock-up or a sample system to test ideas. Say, as a business analyst in a software development environment, as a business analyst, you've met with the stakeholders, they've described what they want the solution to do, what the application should do. Oh, they want an application that should be able to, that can allow them log into their personal accounts, pull funds or something. So yes, they have their requirements. You've already documented the requirements. It's also important to also prototype it. And it's just like sketching out an example of what it's going to be like. So I'm sure some of us have seen Figma representations of how a solution works. So sometimes some users struggle to explain what they need. They struggle to. So you yourself, you've tried to articulate what their needs are, but to also validate these requirements, you also need to show them what the designer interface would look like. Oh yes, so this is where your name appears, this is where your details appear. By the time you input this, it's going to give an output this way and all of that. So it's very important that you also carry out some level of prototyping in such an environment. I mean, it's not every situation that will require it. So it supports iterative feedback and agile development. On the go, at the moment, they can tell you, no, this is not what we want it to look like. Before you finish developing the whole solution, and then they tell you, no, that's not what we requested. So say by the time they explained what they needed, they wanted a BMW car. They wanted a BMW car. But in your head, with the way they described it, you were able to articulate that, oh, what they want is a truck. If you do not show them a sort of prototype, or you do not have a session where you're going to validate this requirement with them, you would have created your truck wasted your effort, your resources, and all of that. And by the time you give it, then they will return it or reject it. So it helps iterative feedback, and on the go, you can quickly make changes and adapt to what they actually want. So prototyping is very important in understanding what your clients or what your customers want. Okay. Another important one is user role analysis. User role analysis. Here, you are trying to identify the types of users and what they need. Who are going to be the users of the solution? Who are the users involved in that process? And what are their involvements, their levels of involvement? And what are the things they need? So on this solution, what's parts? So let's talk of an ERP solution like we do. So for an accountant, what part of the solution is useful to this user? What part is useful to the marketing staff? What part is useful to the admin, to the HR? So you want to identify the different types of users, their behaviors, their expectations. The expectations are very important, and uh it's very important to also know what they expect and ensure that you are meeting the expectations. So is this person a customer? Is this person a supplier? Is this person an employee? So for someone that is probably an admin, you know that there are some rights, maybe some access rights that this person would have differently from somebody that is just a visitor to that website or to that solution, somebody that is just a customer. So of course there will be some access rights that would be denied just an external visitor. There are some things that they are supposed to see. So you need to be able to understand the user role analysis, different personas, user personas. You need to know, okay, as a customer, I want to be able to input my location for delivery. I should be able to select what item I want on your website. I should be able to check out, or I should be able to add things to my cart. So as the admin, I should be able to approve different actions on the solution or on the website. So you need to understand the different user rules and uh, do a thorough analysis of different user personas. So it supports more targeted requirements and personas. It helps find shared interests and conflicting needs. It helps find shared interests and conflicting needs. All right, storytelling is another one. It helps and encourages people to share their real life stories and experiences. Helps for useful discovering of culture, emotions, and hidden blockers. It is usually more revealing than formal questioning. Okay, now for the quantitative techniques now. You want to use data to back up what people say. You want to use data to back up what people say. You are trying to gather, or you want to track the number of visitors to your website. How many people are visiting the website? How many people are clicking on this ad? What's the demographic nature of the visitors of this what's it called, of this audience? Who are the audience? What are their interests? What are their other interests? So you're using data to back up what people see. So it's not enough that, people say they like this product. People say they like your brand or your products, but how many people are really visiting your page? How many people are interacting with you? How many people are engaging your page? Or how many people are really visiting your page? So you use the data to back up what people say, and then it includes your surveys, activity sampling, performance metrics. And this helps validate assumptions and define the problems. So what happens is it that you have a lot of traffic on your page, but then zero what's it called, nobody's buying, nobody's actually buying. So what's the problem? Is it that when they try to make payments, or when they try to select the item, is it that the product is not affordable, or is it that there is an error? Is it that there is an error that people are not able to confirm or end their bargain or something? Or is it that there is no response? So you need to be able to, it helps us to validate the assumptions and define what the problems exactly are. Okay, so in recording business situations, you want to document your findings clearly with meeting notes, diagrams, and models, confirmed outputs shared with stakeholders, and all of this support understanding and traceability. So mind map, rich pictures that show people's emotions, different systems. Mind map also is a visual layout of concepts and connections. It's a visual layout of concepts and connections where people are able to, I don't know if many of us are conversant with Xmind. Xmind is a great tool that helps you can use it to map out your, maybe your opinions or your ideas. You can use it to map out your ideas. And then fishbone, we use fishbone for root cause analysis. We use fishbone for root cause analysis, and it helps you to identify what the primary causes are and what the secondary causes are, because problems do not just happen. There are probably underlying causes for each of these problems. So the fishbone diagram, so maybe on your phone or your laptop, you can just type a fishbone diagram, and then you see different samples of it where you are seeing the actual problem and you are seeing the different things that could be causing that problem. Just like the skeleton of a fish, sorry. So 5 whys is also used to identify the root cause, where you're using it to ask why until you find out what the real cause is. So you use it to identify what the real cause is. Why is this thing happening? Okay, so why is it that this solution, okay, why don't people buy from our brand? Okay, maybe because the price is high. Why is the price high? Or maybe because the raw materials used are difficult to find and very expensive as well. Why? You just keep asking the whys until you understand where the real problem lies. All right. So now, when to use each technique? It's not cast in stone, but then these are best, what's it called? These are the best ideas. So when to use each of the techniques? For workshops is best for group discussion and shared understanding. So, it could be departmental wide, be organizational wide, blah, blah, blah. Interviews for sensitive or expert knowledge. Maybe you just need to meet with the process owner or the technical expert, or maybe, just a key user. So these interviews can be best for such sensitive or expert knowledge. Then for the observation, reality versus perception. Okay, this is what they said the problem is. But by the time you're observing, you might be able to get one or two that they've not said. So in observation, you're able to actually get what the reality of the problem and the perceived problem as well. So prototyping helps you to clarify your requirements, or this is what I want my application to look like, this and that. But then by the time you do the prototyping, if it's not what they really want, changes can be made clear easily. Then scenarios, it explores processes and exceptions. Surveys helps you gather facts from many people. You gather facts from many people, and This is a very good guide as to understanding the situation of things. Then storytelling gives cultural or personal insights, personal opinions of people, their journey and why they probably want it this way. So storytelling is it. So yeah, so I just have like an example here. Maybe a university experiences rising dropout rates among second year students. The university experiences rising dropout rates among second year students. And so for our business capability model, we're able to use different parameters like the students support services, the academic advisory, the learning management system. We used all of this to identify different areas for their quantitative and their qualitative, using their qualitative and quantitative techniques. And then the results now helped us to understand that there are not enough early warning systems to flag struggling students. Students lack mentorship and they feel disconnected. And there was the outcome, or what should be the recommendation. We say new capabilities should be introduced in academic monitoring and student engagement, and it will help the dropouts to drop by 30%. So I don't know if there are questions. I don't know if there are questions. I don't know if there are questions for me before we
Please
finally.
feel free to ask. We are in the question and answer segment now. Feel free to ask her your questions. Thank you.
Okay, so if you don't have questions, anyway, so I just want to buttress on some of the things I mentioned. So today we learned about investigating the business situation, the business situation. And so we said it's very important that you do a background research, and we also dived into different quantitative and qualitative techniques that can be used. So now for that example that I gave, that's in university in experienced a very high level of dropouts. And so for the quantitative analysis techniques that we gave examples, we said for the qualitative, it talks about people and their experiences. So we mentioned the focus groups, the interviews, the observation, the storytelling, and yeah, and the likes. So an example of that is that maybe for the interview, you can have one-on-one sessions with the academic advisors, or maybe with the students that have dropped out, or maybe with the faculty, say faculty of linguistics now, or maybe faculty of arts. I think that's a better faculty of arts. Okay, for the qualitative analysis now, how many people do you, maybe their course advisors, so how many, you can have one-on-one sessions with them and say how many dropouts do you have per year. So that's a good example of where to use the interview. And you see that the advisors will be able to give a better guide. So for the focus groups, you could meet with maybe second year students or maybe first year students and hold sessions with them and say, ask them questions. Is it that they're overwhelmed with their studies? Is it that they're struggling to pay their fees? Blah, blah, blah. So these are examples of how you can use qualitative analysis techniques. For observation, you can shadow your students for one day to understand how they navigated campus. Is it that they usually from home go to other places instead of going to their lecture rooms? Or is it that they cannot even afford transportation to their lecture rooms? Or is it that you can do some level of observation to see how people conduct themselves? You can also use storytelling. You can invite some students to share a day in their life. I mean, on social media now, a day in the life of a university student struggling with SAPA or something. So you can also do some level of storytelling. So this storytelling will help reveal emotional burnouts and maybe any other issues that they experience. For the quantitative analysis techniques, we mentioned surveys, performance metrics, KPI, review, activity sampling. So maybe you can then, for surveys, you can do a digital survey where you go to their departments, that faculty of maybe arts and humanities now, share questionnaires or, send them links, digital survey links, to understand their workload, gather feedback on their workload, their well-being, the challenges they face. So you'll be able to gain insight as to probably why some of them are not motivated to go to school. And you'll be able to understand why there's a high level of dropouts in the university. So another example is maybe their attendance rate, your performance metrics, maybe attendance rates of the class of 50 people. We expect 50 people to attend, but then maybe the attendance, maybe just 20 people that are filling the attendance regularly. Or maybe they have learning management system and then 50 of them are meant to actually log in. But at the end of the day, we realize that it's just 20 people that are still logging in. So you would understand, you'll be able to get the trend and see how this dropouts is being, how it comes to play. So these are performance metrics you'll be able to tell with time. And so you'll be able to
Christina, you
understand.
have some questions.
Okay.
Okay, so the first question says, I will give the opportunity for some persons to unmute and ask, but the first question says, does a business analyst role include expansion and sales?
Expansion and sales.
Yeah.
So by the time you are analyzing or improving people's processes or people's businesses, we expect that it should eventually lead to process improvement. It should lead to better productivity and yes, eventually expansion of sales. But it is not really your role to, it depends on the organization now, but it is not your role to actually go for the sales. But what you are improving is to make the business better and help their turnover eventually. So yes, it will help in the expansion of their sales and, help the company or the organization perform better, even in terms of their rollover or this thing, financial performance. I don't know if that
Okay.
answers the question.
I hope that answers your question, Elizabeth.
You have what?
Someone else wants to ask. I don't know if Isaac can unmute himself. Isaac, are you there? Can you unmute yourself to ask your question? Okay, I think you still have some questions in the chat room.
Okay, let me see if I can view it. Okay. You said, okay, I saw one. Which technique is the most appropriate and efficient based on or your experience for investigation techniques? See, it depends on the audience, it depends on the project, it depends on the stakeholders. All of them are effective. All of them are effective. All of them are effective, but most times interviews, workshops, they never fail. Interviews, workshops. because that interview, so let's say you do a workshop first of all, and then you do an interview to validate this. Maybe you do a workshop with your department to maybe gather some insight, and then you now do an interview with maybe top or heads of the department. So you are trying to validate maybe what these requirements could be or what the challenges could be. So, but it depends on the situation actually.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Damola, please, can you unmute them? I think we will just take two more questions and then we round off for this session. Please unmute Bisola and also unmute who again? I think Isaac's hand was up. Please do so. Thank you.
Yeah, hello. Sorry. Thank you, Ma, for the wonderful teaching. I think you've answered one of my first question, but the second one, I was trying to ask what subject matter are relevant to facilitate this investigation of business. You know, from your lecture, I'm observing something like you need a statistics background or understanding to data, more or less like a data analyst. Are all those skills relevant in this field? Thank you.
Sorry, can you take your question again? I didn't I didn't get.
Okay. All right. I'm saying that based on your lecture, I observed that there are some subject matters like statistics, data analytics that are very needed for you to really understand and investigate businesses. So I wanted to know what are some of these subject areas that one needs to build around as a foundation in order to become a best or a good business analyst. Thank you.
Okay, so it's good for you to understand the should I say the industry, like industry knowledge is one of the skills or the competencies of a business analyst. Industry knowledge. You are going to work with a banking, organization. You should have an idea of the banking sectors, banking terminologies, how the processes within a bank or service, how they do their operations, so something like that. And also maybe the legal or regulatory uh, rules that guide maybe that environment. The ones in Ghana will be different from the ones in Nigeria. So these are some of the things that would help you understand uh, the business that you're working with in terms of getting or doing a background research. You understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I mean by that? And you could go to their websites, understand, what their services are, what their clientele should be, and the likes. I don't know if that answers your question, Mr. Isaac.
Yeah, I think that we'll just take one more because we're already shooting into the last session and the time. So there is a question here by Elizabeth. She says, is it possible we have like a practical engagement assignment after during the course? Does the storytelling comes from the business analysis or stakeholders?
From the stakeholders. From the
Okay.
stakeholders. Thank you. So
Okay.
for the other question, I think Messi
Uh,
can answer that.
okay, we will have to reach out to you people on your various groups for that. Okay, please. We are no longer taking any more questions. So, Covenant, we are sorry for that. Please, a round of applause to Christiana. Thank you so much, Christiana, for a beautiful delivery. A round of applause to her.
Thank you very
And
much.
then, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. All right, everyone. Thank you for sticking by up till this moment. We are about to go into our last session for today. And I'm excited because we are about drawing the curtain close for today. So, permit me in a moment to share my screen. Okay. All right. So, today, in this last session, we will be going into the project management, all right? And The person who will be taking us on the project management session is none other than Olajumoke. Olajumoke started off her career as an administrative officer, then transitioned into IT project management with years of experience and has obtained several certifications. She also has knowledge of some ISO standards like ISO 9001, 27001, and 22301. She's currently a project manager at Panoramic Synergy Enterprise. Ladies and gentlemen, with a round of applause, can we welcome our last trainer for today, who will be taking us on the project management session, and the topic is scope management. Thank you so much, Jumeke, for joining us today. Please, you can take it off from here. Hello, Jumoke. Are you there? Hello, Jumoke. Are you still there? I think we lost her due to network. Please exercise a little patience while we get her back on the call. Thank you.
All right, good morning, Mercy. Good morning, everyone.
You are welcome, Jumoke.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You are welcome. The floor is yours.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's project management class. I will share my slides and we can just dive into today's class. Please let me know when you can see my screen. All right, can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can. Please put it on the presentation mode.
Yeah. Is it fine now?
Yes, it is, but it's not on presentation mode.
From my end in presentation mode.
All right, please carry on.
All right. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Olajumoke, and I'll be taking us through the scope management of project management today. Yeah. So the course to be the plan scope management requirements, define scope, creates can anybody mute themselves and just answer? Like when you hear scope, not even in project management, let's just assume we hear the word scope. What comes to mind? Can anyone answer? Okay. So in project management, scope basically means trying to be this going too far, just staying in a place where you've been given to work on, focusing on a certain thing to do. Like we have here, you do all the work. In project management, you don't have to, you have to be focused on certain things that you do. Like the example we have here, when you're a baker and then your clients come to meet you that they want to bake a certain kind of cake and they're giving you a design, you should follow the exact design. You shouldn't say because you feel like you will look better, you should add some other things. No, in project management, you don't do that. You just need to focus on the exact design given to you. You do even now make you seem professional if you do much more. Although it's aspects, you can do beyond what you were asked to do and you'll be applauded for it. But in project management, you just do the exact thing. That's what it entails. What was agreed upon. So
Okay, so you
scope
had some
management
answers
about
on the
planning.
in the chat room, Jumoke. Some persons answered your question in the chat room. Thank you. You can as well check that out. I think we've lost her again. Please be patient while we get her back on the call. Hello, Jumoke. If you are speaking, we can't hear you. We cannot hear you. I can see you are still on, but we cannot hear you. Can anybody hear her? If you can, please indicate in the chat room. Oh, okay. So please, we cannot hear you. If you can hear us, can you log out and then log back in?
Hello, Mercy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now, but at some point we lost you.
Is misbehaving, so I'm trying to switch networks. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's
Please
fine. It's fine.
bear with me. I'm trying to switch network so that it doesn't repeat itself again. Okay, let me share my screen again. Or is my screen still shared?
No. You can reshare.
All right, I'll reshare. All right, so sorry everyone. I'm so sorry. It was my network. So like
So
I said,
some persons, sorry, please. Some persons gave answers to you in the chat room when you ask your question. So you might also pay attention to the chat room as well. Thank you.
all right, thank you, Mercy. All right, thank you. I'll just Can everyone still see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen. Cost
All right, thank
content,
you.
plan,
Yes. So the cost contents is the plan scope management, collect requirements, define scope, create WBS, which is the work breakdown structure. We also have validate scope and then control scope.
and can you kindly put it in a slide format so it will be bigger? It will be really small.
From my hand, it is. I don't know if it's the network. From my hand, it is.
All right, you can proceed.
Yes. So what is project scope management? Project scope management is all about making sure that um everything that was said to be done is exactly what we are doing. I said earlier that is like you giving a client a cake designed to bake for you, and the client is doing overboard. In project management, you should do the exact thing. You do no more and you do no less, right? And then the plan scope management. This step is about planning how you would manage the scope throughout the project. You think about writing a small guide on how to define, manage, and control project scope. You create the scope management plan, requirements management plan also. So I'll call this like the clauses that sits with project scope management overview. We have the plan scope management, which is the inputs. The inputs are, the resources, information that are used to initiate or carry out project activities. And for plan scope management, we have the project charter. The project charter is a document authorizing the project and outlining its objectives. It's also We also have the project management plan. This sits with the project managers, and then you can always use it from the beginning of the project to plan whatever needs to be done. We also have the enterprise environmental factors. These factors are factors that when you're planning a project, you need to put in consideration. Let's assume you want to build a house. When you get a land, you need to put in considerations omonile, all agberos. You need to put all of them in plans. Also, market factors. You get to the market today, they're calling a certain price for you today, then tomorrow they're switching to another price. You need to put all of these things in considerations. Organizational process assets. So each organization where project management is done, you have different organizations have how they carry out their project management. So this also needs to be considered. The way company A is going to plan projects is different from the way another organization will plan their projects. So this has to be in the input. Tools and technique, expert judgment. What are expert judgment? I'm explaining all of this because moving forward, we'll be seeing all of these inputs in each of the contents of the content, I mean. So I don't need to explain myself over and over again. That's why I'm taking my time to explain each of it here. So tools and technique, expert judgment. Expert judgment is people that have knowledgeable thoughts about a certain project that has been done before, so that when you're doing similar projects, you're able to get knowledge from these people. Data analysts, meetings of from the beginning the project was in plan, minutes of meetings that everyone did together, meetings of every stakeholders, every meetings you have with teams. All of these things needs to also come into tools and techniques. Outputs are the tangible or intangible deliverables produced as a result of those activities on this project. And you have your scope management plan. Scope management plan is usually a document used by the project manager to state how the whole project will go, the scope of the project. It's a plan where you have all that is required of you on that project. You also have the requirement management plan. So for collect requirements, the inputs are project charter. Project charter is a document which is authorizing the project and it's outlining the objective. I've explained that before. So all of these things, you might be seeing it all through each of the contexts, but they are the same document, but you need them at every point of these stages. We also have the project management plan. This sits with the project managers, where you plan the entire project and is clearly stated out and clearly written out. You have project documents, all the documents that will be required on that project. Business documents, like where I work as a project manager, IT, we have documents that we require from our clients when we want to start a project. These are business documents that requires us to get on a particular project. Agreements, my organization, we call it SLA, where you have agreements with your clients that this is certain things that will be done on this project. This is what we're going to do. What do you want? Is this fine by you? Then a signature is appended on that document. Enterprise environmental factors, like I said earlier, I explained that earlier. We also have organizational process assets. Tools and techniques, we have the expert judgment, data gathering, data analysis, decision making. As a project manager, some persons feel like once you're a project manager, you have the final decision to make on a project. No, you do not. You have to take everyone's input, put it together, rub minds, take decisions. If it needs us to vote, we'll take that. Everyone needs to put an input and we'll all have to agree. Yes, it sits with the project manager, but you also have to take everyone's input and there has to be an agreement. Data representation, interpersonal and team skills. On each project, no one can work, like you can't be isolated. It has to be a teamwork. You can't decide to take this thing all by yourself to do. You need to work as a team. You have to have that interpersonal skills to get on a project. Contents diagram, depending on the kind of project that you're on. Yeah, pictures, diagrams that you need to show to just approve the kind of project that you're about to embark on. Prototypes as well. We also have the outputs for this collect requirements. We have requirement documentation, requirement traceability matrix. This is a document that requires, like, where you have the project name, you have the cost center, project description. I'll show you as we move forward. It's more like a table that needs to be used all through to track. Okay, I'll call it a tracker that can be used to track the project all through the lifespan. Also, define scope. We have the inputs where you have your project charter, project management plan, project document, enterprise environmental factors, organizational process assets, and the tools also are expert judgment, decision making, interpersonal and team skills, product analysis. The outputs are project scope statements, project documents, updates. So we come to the clause 5.4 where we have work breakdown structure. Work breakdown structure is basically it helps you organize the project. It breaks down, like when you break down a project into pieces for easy delivery. That's what work breakdown structure is. And then this inputs, we have project management plan, we have your project documents, we have your enterprise environmental factors, we have organizational process assets, and the tools, we have the expert judgment and the composition. The composition is also like work breakdown structure. Is also a document where you put the project into pieces to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do at this particular time, and when we're done, we'll round up and move to the next one. Output, you have the scope baseline, you have your project document updates. To validate scope, the inputs are project management plan, you have project documents, you have verified deliverables, you have work performance data. Tools and techniques to be used are inspection. So when you validate scope, you want to be sure that you've everyone has agreed with whatever you've written down. Everyone is on the same page. There's an inspection that will take place. Then decision making, is anyone against it? Are we all in agreement? Those are the tools and techniques that will come up there. Output, we have accepted deliverables, work performance information, change request. I will explain that as we go further. Project documents updates. For the control scope, we have project management plan, project document, project work performance data, organizational process assets, and the tools and techniques to be used at data analysis. Output, we have work performance information, change request, project management plan updates, and then project documents updates. So let's get into further explanation, right? So plan scope management. This is where you gather needs and expectations of everyone. Like I said earlier, you cannot decide that as a project manager, you isolate yourself and take decisions all by yourself. No, you interview people, create surveys, focus group with your team members and all stakeholders, observations, bring everyone together. The output here are requirements documentation. This is a document where you are requesting everyone to state clearly what they want on the project, then requirement traceability matrix. So for plan scope management, the inputs are project charter, project management plan. I've explained this earlier. This is just more like a table explaining what is to come at every point. That's the input, tools and techniques, and output. Project charter, project management plan. Under the project management plan, in it you have the quality management plan, project lifecycle description, everything, all the plans that we're going to do all through the project. This can be changed. That's why we have the change documents. We also have the development approach, enterprise environmental factors, organization process assets. This might be looking like repetition, right? But these are just steps to be followed on each stages of the project. Tools and techniques, we have expert judgment, data analysis, where you also have alternatives analysis and meetings. Output, you have your scope management plan, requirement management plan as well. So this is a diagram showing from my left hand is the input and the other side is the
Hello,
output, the
Jumoke.
documents. Yes, please.
Please, we are not seeing your screen well. Can you put it on presentation mode? It's still, this is like the normal PowerPoint. Please, can you just make it presentation
Is it
mode?
on presentation mode now?
No, it's not.
From my end, it is. That's what I'm wondering.
Because
From
some
my hand,
persons are complaining in the chat room already and
from
said
my
it is.
hand, it is. I don't know.
Okay, just continue. Just continue.
I can snap it to you to show you. From my hand, it is. So I'm
Just continue.
wondering what's wrong.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Maybe it's my network or something, but from my end, it's on presentation mode.
possible.
All right. So this is just a diagram showing the documents for each of these clauses. To develop project charter, you need your project charter, which I explained earlier. That I said the project charter is a document authorizing the project and outlining its objectives. And then project management plan. Under project management plan, you have the quality management plan, project lifecycle description, and you have the development approach. Enterprise and organization, you have enterprise environmental factors, organizational process assets, which I had explained earlier. I said enterprise environmental factors are factors that you consider when planning a project. And I gave examples of building a house where you have to consider lots of people that might not even be totally involved on the project, but they can cause havoc on the project if you're not putting them into considerations. Right, so for the outputs, you have the project management plan, and documents under here are scope management plan, requirements management plan. So for collect requirements, the input are project charter. In almost all of these stages, you always see the project charter because that is the document that shows all of the activities that will be going on that project. So in all of these stages, you would always see the project charter and most likely the project management plan too. So under the project management plan, we have the scope management plan, requirements management plan, and stakeholders engagement plan. This stakeholders engagement plan is usually a document where you have when and where to meet with your stakeholders, the schedules that has been communicated with stakeholders, what the stakeholders want. So this is the stakeholders engagement plan. Project documents, you have your assumptions log just at the states. Lessons learned register. Learned register is a register that when you're a project manager, you've done various kinds of projects. On a particular project, you must have made mistakes, you must have been corrected on certain things, you must have seen some things that you did that weren't right. You just don't leave it hanging. You need to document it so that when you're doing a similar project, you're going to bring out your lesson learned register so that you don't make the same mistake on that particular project. And one important thing to notice as a project manager, you need to always document for everything that you're doing on a project. It needs to be documented. You just don't say it by words or just leave it hanging. Everything needs to be documented. That's why when you're managing a project, it seems like every step there's a document for it. There's always a document for, you can see we have assumption log, like really. But that's what project management is about. You don't leave anything hanging. You need to put it down. You need to document it. So you have your lessons learned register and also the stakeholder register. For business documents, you have your business case. Business case is more like you have your, it's a document that captures the reason why that project was even initiated at first, right? This comes at the very beginning of the project, even before the plan of the project. It's a document that shows that this is why we're embarking on this project, costs effective of costs that will be used on that project, everything basically. The business case carries it. Then we have agreements, we have enterprise environmental factors, we have organizational process assets. For
Hello,
tools and
Jumoke.
tech, yes, please.
I've been raising my hands up for a while now.
Please, you can speak.
Yes, I said your screen is very small, and we have a lot of complaints already in the chat room. What I'm seeing here is that your screen is yet to be on presentation mode. Can you stop
Do
sharing
you
and
want me
then
to stop
restore?
sharing and then come back to do it again?
Yes, please. Thank you.
What about now, Mercy?
It's still in the same method as before. I don't know if I can
Honest.
help. I don't know if I can help you to share the screen from my end.
Okay, maybe you should help me share from my end, because from my end it's clearly on presentation
Okay.
mode. I don't know what
Okay,
is wrong.
just a moment. Everyone, please just be patient for a moment.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, I'm so sorry for that interruption. I'm about sharing it now. Please, can you see my screen?
Yes, Mercy, I can see your screen.
Okay, so is it on presentation mode now? Can everyone see? Please indicate in the chat room if you can see in presentation mode. All right, okay. Jumoke, please, you can carry on.
All right, again, sorry everyone. I think it's my network. I honestly don't know what went wrong, but I'm very sorry. Apologies, please.
This is where you were, right?
Yes, please.
All right.
Or does anyone want me to go back? If you want me to go back, it's fine. But if you want me to just continue from here, it's also fine. Okay. So I said for the input for plan scope management, we have the project charter, project management plan, where we have the quality management plan, project life cycle description, development approach, enterprise environmental factors, organizational process assets. For the tools and techniques, we have expert judgment, data analysis, where we have alternatives, analysis, and meetings. Output, we have scope management plan, requirement management plan. Next slide, Mercy. So like I said earlier, that this is just a diagram showing the inputs and the outputs for plan scope management, all of the documents that will be required at every stage. For develop project charter, you have your project charter document. For project management plan, you have your quality management plan, you have your project lifecycle description, you have your development approach. And for the enterprise and organization, you have your enterprise environmental factors, we have your organizational process assets. And for the outputs, you have your project management plan, which contains the scope management plan, requirements management plan as well. And then we move to the next one. Collect requirements. So for collect requirements, the inputs are project charter. We have a project management plan. Under your project management plan, you have the scope management plan, requirements management plan, and stakeholders engagement plan. You also have your project documents where you have your assumption log. I was explaining earlier that for project management, you need to document everything that occurs on that project. Everything that goes on that project needs to be documented. You cannot just let things go by without documenting it. That's very important in project management. You need to have a lesson learned register, and this register is used, when you have, maybe you've worked on a certain project before and then you get on a similar project again. You must have made mistakes or you've been corrected on certain things that should not repeat itself on another project. You're going to bring out your lessons learned register to make sure you don't repeat same mistake on that project. You also have your stakeholder register. You have your business documents where you have your business case. And I explained that business case is a document that captures the reason for initiating a project even in the first place. This is a document that is you write this document, like you come up with this document from the very beginning. Just when the project comes up, you have a business case document where it states clearly the amount that will go into the project, why the project is initiated, who are the people that is going to work on this project, and many other things that needs to be considered on the project. You also have agreements. You have enterprise environmental factors, organizational process, assets. And the tools and techniques to use on this stage is expert judgment. I'd explain expert judgment to be people that have worked, you need to work closely with people that have worked on similar projects before. Their knowledge needs, the input of their knowledge is needed on your own project as well. Data gathering, brainstorming, interviews, focus groups. As a project manager, you need to do all of these things. You cannot do a project all by yourself. You cannot assume that you know all of these things. You need to have group meetings. If you need to give out questionnaires or surveys, you need to do that just to get accurate informations on that project and other people's idea that will make the project a successful one. We also have data analysis where you have document analysis, decision making. When when you want to win a contract somewhere, of course there would have been a scope. People can vote. Oh, is this what you want? If you want this, raise up your hand. If you do not want this, something of such. Multi-criteria decision analysis. You have data representation, mind mapping. For interpersonal and team skills, we have nominal group techniques. It's just everything seems like the same thing, but in project management, like I said earlier, everything has a document. There's a document for everything that goes on the project. You have to have observation, conversations need to go around the team, the stakeholders. Everyone needs to be on board on every project. Concept diagram, depending on the kind of project you're doing, you need to show people, not just say it. You need to show them that, oh, this is what we're doing. If it's building a house, you need to show them that this is the end result that we want to achieve. Oh, this is how this place will look like. You need to show it to them also as prototypes. Output, we have requirements documentation. We have requirement traceability matrix. Like I said earlier, I was going to show us what that document looks like. It's a document that is just like a tracker. It's more like a tracker showing how the project will go on from the beginning of the project to the end of the project. Next slide, please. So this is just documents that will be used like in every stage. In every stage, you have, for this, we have 4.1, which is a develop project charter. You have your project charter document, project management plan. You have your requirements management plan. You have your scope management plan. You have your stakeholders engagement plan. For project documents, you have your assumption log, lesson learned register, stakeholders register. For your business document, you have your business case document where you have everything aligned, everything that you want the project to do, why the project was initiated in the first place. It's all of these things will be inside your business case document. And for the output, you have your requirements documentation. You also have your requirement traceability matrix. Next, please. Next slide, please. So for collect requirements, this is where you gather the needs and expectations of everyone on the project, your clients, your team members. In all of these things, it depends on the kind of project that you're doing as well. All of the stakeholders, your team members, your clients, everyone needs to be involved in the project. The techniques to be used are interviews, surveys, focus group observations. You need to always call a meeting. You need to listen to what everyone is saying. You need to listen to your clients. You need to understand what they really want to do on that particular project. And the output will be requirement documentation, what each person wants on that project. You also have your requirement traceability matrix, a table that tracks each requirement from start to finish. Next. So this is the requirement traceability matrix, right? This is where I'm sure most people would have seen this before. Maybe there's a building, there's a house building somewhere. You always see something like project name, cost center. Cost center is usually um, it's like the department that will be handling the cost for this particular project. You also state out your project description. These are ID codes for the particular project and every requirement that will be needed on the project. You have your business needs, opportunity, goals, and objectives. You also have your project objectives. You state it out clearly. You have your work breakdown, structure, deliverables, you state it out. Product designs, you state it out. Test case, you know, it could be in percentage. These are maybe in the case of a software development project, you have some tests to be done. This is where you put the progress of the test. Like, this is what we've done. This is how far we've come. Oh, successfully done, and all that. That's where you clearly state it. So this document will be referred to at every stage on the project. Next. So you define scope. Here you turn all requirements into a clear description. You have a document where you clearly state it clearly. Like, no, you clearly state it in a very simple way what the scope of that project to be. Like in my organization, our scope is always stated clearly in the SLA, where the client is going to sign like an agreement. So you have a segment there where you have the scope description, where the clients will also agree that yes, this is what they want. So you state it clearly that this is what you actually want to do. And from the, to describe all of this, you have to put what the project include, and then also what the project will not include, just to make a clearer understanding for your clients. And the outputs are project scope statements, right? This is also a document. The project scope statement is a document that needs to be seen by your clients, showing clearly what the scope of the project is going to be. Next. So for the defined scope, the input will be your project charter. I said earlier that project charter would always be in the input of all of these stages, because that's really that's really the document that states clearly what that project is all about, right? It's your document that is authorizing and outlining the objectives of that particular project. So at every point in time, you would always have your project charter document with you. Also, the project management plan. I'm sure we've been seeing it in all of the stages, where you have your scope management plan, project documents, enterprise environmental factors, same with organization process assets. And the tools are expert judgment, decision making, interpersonal and team skills, also product analysis. For the output, you have your project scope statement, assumption logs, requirements documentation, requirement traceability matrix. You would also be seeing requirement traceability matrix in almost all of your outputs, because of course it's a document that is used from the beginning of the project up until the end of the project. Also the stakeholder register. Next. This is a diagram showing development project charter. You develop your project charter, your project management plan, where you have your scope management plan. These are documents that will be needed in this stage. You have your assumption log, you have your requirements documentation, you have your risk register. Risk register is a register where you write out risk, possible way to mitigate this risk. You're going to state clearly if you're going to accept the risk. This is a document that you need during this stage as well. Enterprise and organization, you need enterprise environmental factors, organizational process, assets. For the output, you'll be needing documents like assumption log, requirements document, your requirement traceability matrix, and also your stakeholder register. Next, please. So we move on to create work breakdown structure. So basically, work breakdown structure is just like the example that you can see on my slide is just saying like when you bake a pizza, before using your pizza, you then use your pizza cutter to cut them in pieces or in slices. You see those smaller slices that you've cut, they are called the work package, right? But the process of you putting them in slices is what we call work breakdown structure. And that's simply done just so that you can have a better way of handling the projects. Is also, it helps you manage costs. It helps you with assigning tasks. Let's use a building. Let's assume that want to build a house. Let's start with the foundation. So you are saying, oh, let's start with the foundation first, then we move to the ceiling, or we move to this part of the other project. You've put it in bits. It also helps you with resources, like you're using the certain resources that you're using for the foundation. You can also use them for other parts, but you need them to finish one first before you can then assign them to another task. And it also helps with tracking progress, right? The outputs are scope baseline, which includes your WBS dictionary, and also your scope statement. Next. So to create a work breakdown structure, the inputs are project management plan, where you have your scope management plan, project documents, where you have your project scope statement, requirements documentation. You also have your document that has to do with the environmental factors, organizational process assets, tools and techniques. So some organization you might be like, okay, maybe they're working with Prince 2, some organization are just doing projects waterfall. So it depends. That's where the organization process assets comes in. Different organization with the method they use in managing projects. So the tools and techniques are expert judgment and decomposition. Output to be scope baseline, project documents updates, your assumption log, and your requirements documentation. Next. Again, these are inputs and outputs documents that will be used in this stage. You have your scope management plan, you have your project scope statement, you have your requirement documentation. For enterprise, you have your enterprise environmental factors, organizational process, assets. For the output, you have your scope baseline, which is under project management plan. You also have your project documents, and under this project documents, you have your assumption log and you have your requirements documentation. Next. So to validate scope, you need to show completed work to the client and ask if this is okay. So all of these things, you've put the scopes, you're able to put all of the scopes together. You've been able to, you know, put in everyone's input. You've heard from everyone. Everyone has considered it. You've had roundtables, you've had meetings, you've analyzed the surveys that you shared, the questionnaires, and you've then come up with a very simple and clear scope, which you're going to now share with your client to say, oh, is this fine? Is this okay by you? Are we really in tune? Is this what you actually envision to what your project will look like at the end? Then yeah, your client is officially accepting the work. That's if they've agreed. Then the input to be verified deliverables already checked for quality. You also have outputs, accepted deliverables, or change request. I'll explain change request as we move on. Next. So to validate scope, your input will be scope management plan, requirements management plan, then your scope baseline, project document, lessons learned registers, quality reports, quality of the tools that you're going to be using, on this project, requirement documentation, also your traceability matrix. You also have your verified deliverables, like everything that you said you're going to be using on the project, you're presenting it to your client to say, oh, does this work for you? Is this fine by you? Then your work performance data. Tools and techniques, you'll be doing inspection. Your clients will be inspecting all of the tools. They'll be inspecting all of the deliverables to be sure that they are of quality. Also decision making, even though you've clearly stated what the scope is, this is also a point at the validate scope where you have people say, oh no, this is not what we want, oh, this is not what we really think it is. Okay, let's tweet it this way, let's change this, let's do that. So you have voting in this category. Outputs, accepted deliverables, work performance information, change request. So change request is at this point, you're not saying that everything that you said in the scope is something you cannot change. You can't change it. That's why you have a change request register, where you can now say, okay, this was what was initially said to be done, or what was agreed upon, but we're changing it to this. It needs to be done so that it doesn't seem like it's the project manager that changed it. It needs to also be signed off to say we all agreed that this change would be made. You also have a project document update. That's your lesson learned register, requirements, your requirements documentation, then your traceability matrix. Again, you'll be seeing more of your traceability matrix because, like I said, it runs all through the project. This is a diagram showing the inputs and the outputs, the documents that will be used at this stage. And then you have your scope management plan document, you have your requirement management plan, you have your scope baseline. For direct and managed project execution, you have your work performance data. Control quality, you have your verified deliverables. For project documents, you have your lesson learned register, quality reports, you have your requirements documentation, you also have your traceability matrix. And for the output, you have your acceptable deliverables, your change request documents, you have your performance work performance information. And for your project documents, you have your lesson learned register, you have your requirements documentation, and your traceability matrix again. Next. So to control scope, this is the point where you now monitor and manage changes on the scope document. So this is to prevent you doing extra work without approval. This is where you do not want to take decisions all by yourself. Then at the end of the project, blames are on you as a project manager that it was not well communicated, and then you take all the blames. So at this point, when you're controlling scope, you need to be very sure that you've not taken decision all by yourself. You've put everyone involved on that project in the know, right? And tools, variance analysis, checking what changed and why. This is where you need your change register. Keeps your project from going off track or over budget. Budget is also one thing that should be looked into. And then that's why when you're considering costs, you should always know that things might change. That's where you put in your environmental documents, where you know that, oh, this is what the market says this week, but this project has not started. Because really, in the scope phase, you've not started the project. You're just trying to be sure what the clients want on the project before proceeding on the project in itself. Next. So in this stage, the input, you have your scope management plan, you have your requirement management plan, you have your change plan, you have your configuration management plan, scope baseline, performance measurement baseline. For the project document, you have your lesson learned register, requirements documentation. You also have your traceability matrix, work performance data, organizational process assets. And for the tools and techniques, you have variance analysis, trend analysis, under data analysis. For the output, you have work performance information, change requests, project management plan updates. That's your scope management plan, scope baseline, schedule baseline, cost baseline, performance measurement baseline. And for your project document updates, you have your lessons learned register, requirements documentation, and your traceability requirements traceability matrix. Next. So in this diagram, we can see each document that are needed for this phase. So you have the scope management plan, which is under project management plan. You have your change management plan, you have your measurement baseline. For project documents, you have your lessons learned, you have your requirement traceability matrix. For direct and managed project work, you have your work performance data, and you also have your organization process assets under enterprise and organization. And for the outputs, you have your monitor and control project work, you have your work performance information, you have your change request under perform integrated change control. Under project management plan, you have your scope management plan, scope baseline, schedule baseline, cost baseline, performance measurement baseline. And for the project document, you have your lesson learned register, requirements documentation, and requirement traceability matrix. Next. So why should project scope management matters? Why does it matter? It meets your stakeholders' expectations. So if you don't have a scope, you're just going to get on the project and you get on doing what your stakeholders will not approve. And that's going to be a loss, right? You need to get everyone to agree with, even if you have it's very okay for you as a project manager to say, oh, I feel like this will be fine, but you need to make other people involved on the project to buy your idea and see reasons with you why that can work on that project. Also, it helps you stay on schedule and within budget. You don't want to overspend, you don't want to go beyond your client's budget. So having a scope helps you, you know, plan all of these things right. It also helps you avoid doing unnecessary work. It helps you stay focused on exactly what should be done. Also, it helps you deliver exactly what was promised, because at the end of everything, when you've put all of these things together, your clients are going to say yes, that this works perfectly. I remember in my organization there was a scope that was written and it was approved by the client, and we've gotten midway the project and the client was saying, oh, it wasn't even midway, it was after the project, and the client was saying, oh no, this I didn't say this, and we had to go and bring out the SLA where the scope is. And I'm like, can you see clearly that you signed it and you read it, you approved it? That's why that document is important. So yeah, all of these things helps you to really manage the project and gives you a successful project at the end of everything. Yeah. Next. Okay, questions. Anyone has questions, answers, contributions too is fine. Again, I'm sorry for the whole network issues. Please pardon me.
That's fine. Please, if you have a question, feel free to ask. We have just few minutes to do that. Okay, feel free to ask a question. Okay, I think we do not have a question. Okay. Okay, there is a question. The question says, how do we get the note? Because please, you have it all on the group as usual. I was thinking it's a question pertaining to today's study. We usually share the training slides. Okay, so it's nothing to worry about. If you are on the group, be rest assured you will have the slides. So that is it. Thank you so much, Jumoke. Please, can we appreciate our trainer for today? All of our trainers, please, can we appreciate them one after the other? I know you've already done that. Please keep your appreciation coming. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jumoke, for an excellent delivery. It was a nice time having everyone on the call. All right, so I've seen some questions saying which group. I think that most of you have not registered for this course, and that is actually not good. It means probably you got this link somewhere and you decided to join and you are welcome, but then you have to register for the course. So once you register, a link will be sent to your mail, which you will join the Telegram group, and that is the general group. Also, okay, before I conclude my talking, Damola, if you're on the call, please share the feedback form. Please, we implore that you fill up the feedback. Please fill it up, and once you are done, you can help us write done. Please, we need this in order for us to be able to improve, okay, in our subsequent deliveries. The link is on the chat room. So I'll continue. So like I said, if you're on the call and you have not registered, you are actually shortchanging yourself. So please do well to register for the course. Damola, please, we need the registration link in the chat room. We need the registration link for those who have not registered. And like I also said, there is a paid group for those who have paid for this course. In subsequent time, we will stop people who have not paid from joining the call. And then the link is the class link will not be made public in few weeks' time. Okay, so if you are on the call and you are yet to make your registration fee of 10,000 Nigerian Naira, please go ahead to do so. You can reach out to us on WhatsApp, or you can call us on the number that will be sent to the group shortly, please, for further clarity. All right. So thank you so much. We need the registration link for this program, Damola. Thank you. So thank you, everyone. I think that is basically all. And I'm going to repeat myself concerning the ISO, because in every of the classes, you will write an assessment per course that you have studied. All right. So we had 4 sessions today. We are going to be doing assessment on all the 4 sessions. And then for the ISO, for some of you that are having difficulty, you have to create an account with that site first before you can now go ahead to do the assessment. And if you do not score up to 70% in the exams, you will not be getting the certificate for that very ISO. So please ensure that you score the required points. And they have made it so easy that if you fail the first one, you can do the second and the third time. And once you are done the third time, you will not be able to do the course, that very exams again. So please make sure you read all the modules and then follow it up to the letters before you start your exams. The exams is timed. It is not running too fast, so you can still finish up your exams before the stipulated time. So I'm taking my time to explain this so it will not be difficult for those who are just joining us, or for those who will just be starting their assessment for that ISO today. So please do well to adhere to all of this instruction. And if you still need further clarity, the number to reach out to is on the chat room. Do we have to make another payment? No. Your 10,000 Naira covers for everything. Okay? You don't have to make extra payment. For that certificate is free. It's actually free. So once you are done with that, you download your certificate. And remember to send it to the mail that was sent to your group. In that way, we will be able to ascertain that you have done your assessment on that very ISO. But if you do not send it to us, there is no way that can be recorded in your transcript. So please follow the instruction. And if you still need further clarity, you can reach out to that number. And but if you reach out later today, you might not get responses because we are already done for today. But all your responses will be coming in from next week. I think I'm done. Please, have you fill up the feedback form before you exit the call? Please, please, please. We need your feedbacks. Covenant Geoffrey, you are an NID student. You need to register for this course, and it's free for you people. So please register for it. You can chat me later. I'm going to send you the registration link. Thank you so much for your feedbacks. Oh, Damola, please, we need the registration link for this course. Someone is asking for it. A moment, let me get it for you, please. Before we call it a day. Okay, moment, I'm getting it now. All right, so the registration link is on the group, is on the chat room already. You don't need to know about our NID students. Michael, our NID students are those who are doing National Innovation Diploma. So they have been our students for a very long time now. So you don't have to worry about that, okay? Thank you so much, everyone, for standing by from 9:30 up till now. I really enjoyed your presence. And from here, I would say follow us on all of our social media handles. Talk about Transformation College, please. Mention and like our pages on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Engage on our post. And we know that as you are doing this, we will say a very big thank you to you. Thank you once again. And from here, I would say have a very beautiful weekend. We will meet again next week, and all the assessments and the materials you need is going to be sent to the group upper week or next week. Thank you very much and have a wonderful one.